Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's show. I'm your host, Zach Drew. My goodness, buckle up. This is going to be a crazy show. So this is going to be part 3, and this is the part that I have been waiting to get to. Okay, so in the first 2 weeks, in the first 2 episodes, we uncovered an astonishing connection between ancient civilizations, and advanced technology, starting with the discovery of the massive underground structures beneath the Giza pyramids, which is an enigma that that points to a civilization with knowledge far beyond what we possess today. Okay, so already we should be scratching our heads. This led us into the ancient stories of the Nephilim, the giant offspring of fallen angels and humans whose hybrids, or their hybrid nature, brought about the corruption of mankind. We explored the forbidden knowledge shared by the Watchers, that's what they're called in the book of Enoch, which included advanced technologies and arts that pushed humanity to the brink of literal destruction. Ultimately, it led to the Great Flood. We saw how these ancient patterns of rebellion, manipulation of knowledge, and attempts to reach divine power parallel the rise of today's technological ambitions, and especially as AI and transhumanism and genetic engineering become central to modern discourse. Now we're at a crossroads where the technologies of the ancient world are again resurfacing in a new form, as it was in the days of Noah, so it'll be in the coming of the Son of Man. The same drive to transcend human limitations that led to the creation of the Nephilim is being mirrored today through the push for AI godheads and human-machine hybrids. So as we venture into the final days before Christ's return, the ancient quest for forbidden knowledge is being realized through our obsession with AI, with genetic modification, and the merging of man and machine. The same technological breakthroughs that led to mankind's fall in the days of Noah are being replicated, but this time the stakes are higher than ever. Let's continue our journey through these ancient mysteries and prophetic warnings as we approach a future that may once again see the return of what was lost and the rise of a God-like AI. Once again, as it was in the days of Noah, so it'll be in the coming of the Son of Man. I want to start wrapping this up. I want to talk to you about where I think this technology comes from. I believe that the fallen angels, once again, are corrupting mankind. I don't think we're going to see giants roaming the earth again, okay? I do think that we will have partly terrestrial, being mankind, mixed with something else entirely once again. Where is this technology coming from? I want to talk to you about DMT. I want to talk to you about ayahuasca. DMT is a psychedelic. You smoke DMT, you drink ayahuasca. It's a drug taught to man by the fallen angels. It's the most powerful psychedelic known to man. DMT, ayahuasca, the spirit molecule. Like I said, I believe the use of ayahuasca was taught by fallen angels and their offspring. These beings taught forbidden knowledge, as we looked at in the first 2 episodes, secrets of the universe to humans to open their minds. And millions of Americans are taking it today. Why is this ancient psychedelic becoming mainstream again? It is a sign of the times. Millions are getting, people are saying, oh, well, millions of people are getting drunk. Millions of people are smoking pot. Okay, well, I want to let you know that this the most powerful psychedelic known to mankind. This is not a recreational type of drug. This is not a drug that people take to enjoy, to relax, to take the edge off like you see today. They aren't taking it for fun. How is DMT, how is ayahuasca different from other psychedelics? Well, other psychedelics, they alter your perception of reality. For example, I've said on the show before, if you have a room of 5 people and they all take some mushrooms, they're all going to have different experiences. DMT is totally different. And I'll use DMT, ayahuasca, spirit mule interchangeably. DMT opens a gateway, and it opens a gateway to another reality. For example, if you have 5 people that smoke DMT, they'll come back and they'll all have the same experience. They'll all go to the same place. They'll all speak to the same entities. And actually, if you get to the end of this road, they all speak to a god, a female god, which in this community, They have called her the Mother Ayahuasca. It mimics a unbelievably religious experience. There are so many testimonies you can see online, so many testimonies that I have heard sitting across the table from people who want to tell me what they've experienced while taking DMT. Testimonies stating that it is an impossibility to take this stuff and to still be an atheist. It convinces you that there is a God, but it convinces you of a false God. You go to a different dimension and talk to spirit entities. They cleanse you. They give you secrets of the universe, give you a whole new outlook on life, a new age outlook. And if you make it to the end of your trip, you encounter God. Again, the use of ayahuasca was taught by fallen angels, I believe, and their offspring taught these forbidden knowledges, these forbidden secrets of the universe to humans. Take Enoch 6:1-2. It says, in those days when the children of man had multiplied, it happened that there were born unto them handsome and beautiful daughters, and the angels, the children of heaven, the watchers, saw them and desired them, and they said to one another, come, let us choose wives for ourselves from among the daughters of man and beget, have kids. Enoch 7:1. And they taught them charms and spells and showed them the cutting of roots and trees, also alchemy. So where does ayahuasca come from? Now, here's what's so crazy. It's like, you buy a new car and you think you're the only one that has it, but as soon as you have that car, you see dozens and dozens of your exact same car on the road. If you've never heard of ayahuasca, buckle up because you're going to hear it all the time now. I've gotten so many comments from people on the show, that have watched the show that say the same thing. So many of our elite, of our celebrities, of our, the movie stars of today, they all talk about it in interviews, how they go to South America primarily, and they have these religious experiences and it changes them for life. I've watched dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of interviews of the elite of the world talking about how they all do the same thing. And now 15 million Americans, everyday average Joe Americans, have taken it here in the United States. Where does ayahuasca come from? Primarily the Amazon. And what do the shamans say? What do the shamans say? How do the shamans say that they found this psychedelic? I want to play a 3-minute video from you. I've played it a few years ago on the program. It is a TED Talk, and it is a banned TED Talk. Even if you can find it on YouTube, it gives you a warning before you can even play it. This is Graham Hancock, an English author and journalist. He titled his TED Talk, DMT, The War on Consciousness. I want you to hear a few minutes of what this man said, and we'll be right back to break it down.
Now, normally, DMT cannot be activated orally. When we encounter it in the West, it's generally smoked. There's an enzyme in our stomachs called monoamine oxidase, which switches off DMT on contact. But in the Amazon, they've got round this problem, and they say it was the spirits that taught them how to do it. The DMT in the ayahuasca brew is contained in these leaves from a plant that they call chacruna in the Amazon. And there they mix it together with this vine. And out of the 150,000 different species of plants and trees in the Amazon, this is the one that contains a monoamine oxidase inhibitor, which switches off that enzyme in our stomachs and allows the DMT in the leaves, when the two are married together and cooked in water, to be absorbed orally and takes us on a 4-hour journey into extraordinary realms. Now, it's no joke to drink ayahuasca. The ayahuasca brew it has a foul taste, really, really hideous, and a dreadful, dreadful smell. And after you've drunk your cup, you'll find within 45 minutes or so that you're sweating, that you're feeling nauseous. Pretty soon you may well be vomiting, you may well have diarrhea. So, nobody's doing this for recreation. And I'd like to add that I don't think any of the psychedelics should be used for recreation. They have much more serious and important mission with humanity. So we're not doing this for fun. But what draws people to ayahuasca again and again to brace themselves for this experience, and you do have to brace yourself, is its extraordinary effects at the level of consciousness. And one of those effects has to do with creativity, and we can see the creative cosmogenic impulse of ayahuasca in the paintings of ayahuasca shamans from Peru, like the paintings of Pablo Amaringo here, those richly saturated colors, the amazing visions that they reproduce. And this creative impulse has also spread to Western artists. Many Western artists now have been deeply influenced by ayahuasca and are also painting their visions. And as these paintings show, another universal experience of ayahuasca is the encounter with seemingly intelligent entities which communicate with us telepathically. Now, I'm making no claim one way or another as to the reality status of these entities we encounter, simply that phenomenologically, in the ayahuasca experience, they are encountered by people all over the world. And most frequently of all, the spirit of ayahuasca herself, Mother Ayahuasca, who is a healer. And although she's kind of the mother goddess of the planet, she seems to take a direct personal interest in us as individuals, to heal our ills, to want us to be the best that we can possibly be, to correct errors and mistakes in our behavior that may be leading us down the wrong path.
I'm telling you, buckle up, because you'll see where this is all going. You'll see what I have been leading up to these last 3 weeks. Did you hear what he said there? That there is an enzyme that we have in our stomach that turns off the DMT when taking it orally. But did you hear what he said after that? He said that the shamans say that the spirits told them how to get around this. The shamans get the DMT from a particular kind of leaf, and they pair it with a certain vine. Out of the 150,000 different types of species of plants in the Amazon, this is the only vine that turns off those enzymes in the stomach so that you can trip on ayahuasca. And the shamans say that the spirits told them how to get around this. I believe this is a mirror. We are seeing it repeat just like as it was in the days of Noah. So how does this deal with technology? How does this deal with 2025 and the rise of the fourth industrial revolution and all things quantum computing, artificial intelligence, transhumanism, bioengineering? Buckle up, you'll see. So how is this different from other drugs? What does it do to people? I'm not going to play it for the sake of time, but Graham Hancock went on to tell his testimony. If you would replace certain words of that 3-minute clip that I'm not going to play with God and Jesus, it would seriously sound like he took a mic, went up in front of the church, and gave his testimony of how he came to the Lord. How Mother Ayahuasca saved him, got him on the right track, and how Mother Ayahuasca saves people and gets them to where they need to go. It is a great delusion. I've had friends here. I remember one friend called me whenever I was working in southern Missouri, and he was so excited because he knew I was a religious man, and he wanted to let me know that he had found God. And I was coming back for Christmas break. I said, I was so excited, so looking forward to sitting down with this man and having him tell me what the Lord was doing in his life. Turns out he smoked DMT, he had a blast-off experience, made it to the end, and he said that God is a woman. The same thing that I had read and seen and watched. It is a experience like none other, where they truly feel like everything in this world seriously pales in comparison to the reality of this trip, that they find the edge on truth. And the tech elite commune with the spirits to build the future technology. That's what I want to say. The elite communicate with supernatural beings to build our technology. Do you see how it's such a far out thought. We really are in the days of Noah again. Justin Fall, a researcher, filmmaker, and public speaker, he spoke at the True Legends Conference in Branson that I attended a few years back. So Justin Fall, he was a part of a team that went to the Burning Man Festival for research purposes, seriously. And he exposed some of the most shocking information. You see, what he showed is that, and we knew this, but we didn't know what took place, that there are areas reserved only for the titans in Silicon Valley at these massive festivals. The leading innovators, the who's who of big tech companies, the tech execs are then separated from other classes as they take ayahuasca and DMT. They take DMT that affects the spirit molecule, as they say, and they come back with what? With innovative new ways to build the technology of the future. So where do we get our technology from? Do you think the future of technology is good? A lot of it's good, right? Well, if it's created by demons, it's probably not all good. The tech that we are seeing on the cutting edge is demonically inspired. And these tech elite go through these rituals and Satan whispers in their ears. The breakout sessions. Yeah, there were actually breakout sessions about DMT for technology executives where they would talk to you about the benefits of microdosing DMT for inspiration on what to build next. DMT, these psychedelics, literally are the telephone number to contact the demonic realm. And how will they create such a world? People don't understand how the world has changed. We are in the fourth industrial revolution right now. 1760 to 1840 was the Industrial Revolution. It was the rise of the iron and textile industries and the development of the steam engine, the process of going from hand production to machine production, and everything in the world changed, and we can never imagine truly what it would be like to live before that time. And then 1870 and 1914, the second industrial revolution, known as the technological revolution. It was known for the advent of public electricity, a light bulb, telephone, internal combustion engine, which led to cars and airplanes. We cannot imagine a world before this time. And then starting in the 1980s was the digital revolution, characterized as moving from analog, electric, and mechanical devices to digital technology. Many things were invented in this time, but it was best known for the personal computer and the internet. And we have entered into the fourth industrial revolution. I believe this is the last industrial revolution before Jesus comes back. And it's building off of the digital revolution, characterized by, quote, representing new ways in which technology becomes embedded within societies and even the human body. The new revolution will be marked by nanotechnology, quantum computing, autonomous vehicles, robotics, AI, and IoT. The new era will disrupt almost every industry in the world. We haven't started yet. I will be right back after this. Listen, we have a lot going on at the ministry, and I believe that we are one of the only shows you can get content like this. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and it is an unbelievable endeavor. It's very intimidating, but we need to raise $5,000 to $6,000 in new monthly support, or $120,000 for these next 2 years. We're going to be bringing, if we can do this, Andrew Beller's on full time, and the money is also going to go to all of the costs associated for 2 brand new shows, for a total of 3 programs each week, to produce more content just like this. In addition to this show, we're going to add a new show where we go verse by verse through the book of Revelation. And I like to add in a lot of current events to that type of show too. And we're going to do a new show for the younger generation, a Christian program called Pax and Politics. I'm saying this fast, even though we really, really need your help. I should spend 10, 20 minutes on this, but we need your help. Thank you for those who have jumped in. We have made a dent in it, but we have a long ways to go. Go to ZachDrewShow.com and give a generous gift, or become a monthly partner. Whenever you give that donation at ZachDrewShow.com, click the recurring button where you can give it every month. You can actually do even a weekly there. Or you can give to Zach Drew Show, P.O. Box 797, Decatur, Illinois 62525. Get involved. The Lord is doing some magnificent things here. I believe we are in a new season. And we cannot do it without God and without His faithful people standing with us. So please get involved. I want to show a quick clip from a recent Glenn Beck special where he gives a chilling warning about the rise of an AI Godhead, one that could destroy humanity as we know it. Watch this closely.
So probably people are familiar with systems like ChatGPT now, which are large language models that you can go have an actual normal conversation with, unlike ordinary software programs. They're getting better at everything. In particular, right now and in the next few years, the companies are working on turning them into autonomous agents. So instead of simply responding to some message that you send them and then, turning off, they would be continuously operating, roaming around, browsing the internet, working on their own projects on their own computers, checking in with you, sending you messages like a human employee, basically.
Right.
That's what the companies are working on now. And it's the stated intention of the CEOs of these companies to build eventually superintelligence. What is superintelligence? Superintelligence is fully autonomous AI systems that are better than humans at absolutely everything. Shane Legg, who is, I guess, arguably the technical founder of DeepMind, which is now part of Google DeepMind, which is one of the big three companies building towards superintelligence. I believe in his PhD thesis, he discussed the possibility of superhuman AI systems and how if they were not correctly aligned to the right values, if they were not correctly instilled with the appropriate ethics, that they could kill everyone and become a superior competitor species to humans. These companies are trying to build superintelligence. It's going to be better than humans, better than the best humans at everything, while also being faster and cheaper. And you can just make many, many copies of them. The CEO of Anthropic, Dario Amodei, he uses this term, the country of geniuses on a data center, to try to visualize what it would look like, because quantitatively we're talking, millions of copies, each one of which is smarter than the smartest geniuses, while also being more charismatic than the most charismatic, celebrities and politicians, and like it's everything, right? So that's what they're building towards.
As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be in the coming of the Son of Man. I want to say this too. The legends of old often embody an element of truth. Even Greek mythology embodies elements of twisted truth. Let me show you how. In the book of Jude, chapter 1, 6 and 7, it says this, "And the angels who did not keep their proper domain, but left their own abode." This is referring to Genesis 6. "He, God, has reserved in everlasting chains under darkness for the judgment of the great day, as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities around them in a similar manner to these, having given themselves over to sexual immorality and gone after strange flesh." This is it. This is what it's talking about. "Are set forth as an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire." I believe that for things to be established, we need 2 to 3 witnesses, right? The scripture says. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4 and 5. "For if God did not spare the angels who sinned, but cast them down to hell," that word there is Tartarus, "and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved for judgment, and did not spare the ancient world, but saved Noah, one of 8 people, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood on the world of the ungodly." So he's literally taking those angels who sinned, cast them to hell, and link those angels to the time period of Noah. Now, I want to say this. Tartarus, that was the word in Jude in 2 Peter, when he cast them to hell. That word there in the Greek is Tartarus. Now, why that's so interesting is that that's the only time that word ever appears in all of Scripture. It doesn't appear anywhere else in the Bible. The other words for hell are different Greek words, or if you're in the Old Testament, different Hebrew words. But where the word Tartarus does appear is that it appears in Greek literature as the dark abode of woe, as a pit of darkness in the unseen world. It's mentioned in Homer's Iliad as far below Hades as the earth is below heaven. If you study Greek mythology, you run into the Titans, who are partly terrestrial and partly celestial. They rebelled against their father, Uranus. And after prolonged contest, they were defeated by Zeus and condemned into Tartarus. Do you see the parallel here? I want to suggest to you that these legends of ancient Greeks embody the truth of what really actually happened in the past in Genesis chapter 6, and it's happening again today. And the Bible also curiously notes, and also afterwards in reference to the Nephilim. In Genesis 14 and 15, tribes like the Rephaim, the Zamzummim, and Amin are mentioned, all terms linked to giant humans. By the time of Moses and Joshua, the land of Canaan was populated by lots of giants. We were like grasshoppers compared to them. The Israelites later battled kings such as Og of Bashan. whose bed was 13 and a half feet long and encountered the Anakim, said to the descend from the Nephilim. And then the famous David and Goliath story. How did giants return after the flood? There are a few interesting theories that circulate. One is the second incursion theory. Some believe additional fallen angels, watchers again, mated with human women after the flood, producing a new generation of Nephilim, which I can understand because God did bind the angels that partook in it. So did other fallen angels partake after? I don't know. Another interesting theory is the genetic lineage theory. This view is that the Nephilim DNA survived through one of Noah's daughters-in-law. Perhaps one of the wives carried recessive giant genes. And why do some believe that? Because giants showed up later in her descendants, like Anak and his sons. This is speculative, but it's notable that Ham's, Noah's son, his lineage is often associated later with giants, Cush, Nimrod, Canaan, Anak. And the Bible says that Noah was found righteous and blameless, hinting at a pure bloodline. It doesn't say anything else about the other 7 on the boat with him for a total of 8. Another theory is the occult resurrection. Some legends hint that Nimrod became a giant, or Gibberim. Genesis 10, 8 and 9 can be read as Nimrod began to become a mighty one. This has led to ideas that forbidden rituals or technology might have been used to resurrect or recreate giants post-flood. For instance, occult traditions in Canaan could have attempted to summon the spirits of pre-flood Nephilim. So, okay, it's 2025 now. Where did they go? You got to look to Joshua and then to David. You see, God commanded Israel to utterly destroy the Canaanite tribes like Anakim, which was a super harsh decree, even for the Old Testament. That was likely because these bloodlines were tainted with Nephilim influence. And by David's time, the giant clans were finally subdued. But I'll end with this. Roughly 2,000 years after the flood, Jesus made that cryptic but powerful prophetic warning talking about the end of the age and his return. He said, as it was in the days of Noah, so it'll be at the coming of the Son of Man. And now, what exactly made the days of Noah so unique? Why would Jesus point to that time as a blueprint for the final days? Jesus goes on to say that people in Noah's day were just living their lives, eating, drinking, getting married, completely unaware that judgment was right around the corner. It obviously paints a picture of apathy, of normalcy, right? People ignoring the warnings of God. But a lot of people believe that the comparison goes deeper, even than that. You see, Genesis tells us that Noah's day was marked by a total corruption of human genetics, specifically through the Nephilim, the offspring of the fallen angels and human women. If that's what defined those days, then Jesus' words may be pointing to a future that looks a lot like that again, the possible return of Nephilim-type beings. So will these demonic entities actually appear again in the last days, or will we see hybrid humans and something else entirely merging through AI, taking on a new form like in Noah's day? I personally don't think we're going to see literal giants and beast-like figures, but something more subtle. Things achieved through genetic engineering, transhumanism, and AI, humans trying to merge with tech or evolve beyond the natural design that God intended. And that's where we are. Do you see the prophetic time period that we're in? I know that people have said it so often, but I really believe we are in the generation before Jesus returns. If I was born in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, I would have looked at so many different prophetic scriptures and say, with the technology that we have in these time periods, there are certain prophetic scriptures that can't be fulfilled. But we're there. We've entered into them. It's time to make sure that your heart is right with Jesus. If you're not spending time in His Word, get into it, because we are entering into a time period in which it is going to be of the utmost importance to be able to differentiate between that still small voice and what's happening in the world. Stick close to Jesus. We are in the end of times. Get involved. We need your help for this massive, the largest fundraiser by far we've ever attempted. But I believe God is moving on some of your hearts. Go to ZachDrewShow.com or give the old-fashioned way to Zach Drew Show, P.O. Box 797, Decatur, Illinois 62525. We'll see you next time.